And she said, can you trace that for me and please give me a copy of that? Well, I requested our office secretariat headed by Mr. Sharma, S.T. Sharma, to look into the archive. And fortunately, we were able to find that brilliantly written article, which I had the benefit of reading it again. And I told her it was a brilliant article, and we shared it with her. So, a big hand to Justice Banerjee that was. Now I'll request our dynamic General Secretary, Dr. Anandita Pujari. She is the moving force, you see, behind the events which take place in the Bar Association and has brought Bar Association's activities to the forefront, not just in Delhi or Bombay, but all over the country. Anandita Pujari will introduce our, we have today, there were 4 chief guests. 2 chief guests are our honorable judges and 2 chief guests are our former attorney generals. So she will introduce, you see, the former attorney generals, Mr. K. Parasaran and Mr. Ashok K. Desai.
Good evening, everyone. Before I begin, the tone is already set in an informal tone by my ladyship, and I would like to take that forward because the occasion is quite auspicious. It's an event where we are not merely celebrating we are celebrating 150 years of Mahatma's birth anniversary. We are also celebrating the 68th year of our own inception. This occasion is very special, and on this occasion, when initially we were thinking who to have as our guest, the first thought that came to our mind was to have the bar leaders, because we are celebrating the skill of lawyering. We are celebrating being lawyer. We are celebrating being in this profession. So immediately, the name of all the legends, living legends, came to our mind. We are fortunate to have 2 of them with us today. The task that has been assigned to me is quite onerous. I think being youngest in the panel and the dais, it's very difficult for me to, within few minutes, say and introduce our chief guest, Mr. K. Parasaran and Mr. Ashok H. Desai. I think in law school we had all studied it. The life of law is really experience. We have before us 2 lives, 2 experiences, and the experience of our legal system before us. We are witnessing history, nothing less than that. Because when we opened the book on constitutional law as a student, I think all of us have learned a number of concepts because of the arguments that were advanced by them, be it the concept of what is equality, Article 14, be it what is state, be it the ideas that were there in the Golaknath case. So there is a wide spectrum of ideas which are now part of our constitutional history, were expounded by these legends, and we, generation after generation, lawyers read it and benefited out of it. The entire legal system benefited out of it. I say the task for me to introduce them is onerous, not because there is dearth of any material. I think if we start indexing the number of cases and the leading cases that they appeared in, and I think the list is endless. There will be rims of SEC citations, so I better not venture into it. The task of introducing them is too adventurous an act for me. It is bordering devilry for me. In fact, I was thinking of a word, how to express my feelings of just having to introduce them. In Hindi, it would be drishtata, audacity, nothing less than that. So I don't think I can really introduce them, but I can definitely say, and I can echo all your sentiments, persons present in this August gathering, that, sir, we learnt a lot. I think all of us present here, generations of lawyers, learnt a lot. And what the Bar Association of India is trying to do by having you on the dais on this special occasion is only to do a very small act of trying to bring the sun to people. Because to put it with a real situation in a corner of Norwegian state, there in a small town there was no sunlight. People used to think how to get sunlight, because we all know sunlight brings in a lot of positive energy, a lot of learning with it, and it brings in that it exudes positive energy. And in the absence of it, it not only leads to mental and physical illness, there is something missing in your life. I think in the life of law, in the life of this legal profession, that is what you stand for. You are the sons for us. And in fact, what the learning from the Norwegian town is, they try to put a huge mirror on the border of their town, thinking some sunlight will reflect through the mirror and people of the town would benefit. I think BAI is trying to become an instrument to bring back our legends right in front of us and try to remember and remind ourselves that there is a long path ahead. I cannot introduce all of you because we have learnt law only by reading you, only by being a student, by reading the books edited by Shri Desai. I think Supreme but Infallible, the title itself conveys a lot of meaning to us. And the spectrum, the ideas that we have learned from Ayodhya to Nandini Sundar, from Vineet Narayan to NJSC. I think I would conclude by only saying this. This is the broad spectrum that we are talking about. I think both of you taught us and reminded us what is rule of law and why we should deny being governed always by rule by law, why rule of law is important. Thank you for being there. Any amount of thank you would be less, sir, because the spectrum, as I just said, from Vineet Narayan to NJSC, from Ayodhya to Nandini Sundar is too huge. It only shows that our rule of law, our constitutional ideas has a vast expansion. It's a huge horizon. You have painted it for us. It's time for us to take the baton ahead. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Anandita. I'll now request Honorable Justice Ravindra Bhat and Justice Indira Banerjee to please present our token of respect on behalf of the legal profession to Mr. K. Parasaran, the acknowledged, undisputed leader of the Indian bar. To Mr. Ashok Desai. May I now request for a brief response by Mr. Parasaran?
Respected judges of the Supreme Court, the Honorable Mrs. Justice Indira Banerjee and the Honorable Mr. Justice Ravindra Bhat, the galaxy of lawyers and jurists assembled here, other dignitaries on the dais and before me. A response has to be brief, and the program says brief response. Therefore, I shall not take more than a few minutes, for 3 or 4 minutes. The difficulty is, I feel trepidation when I see such a galaxy of lawyers from different high courts and in the Supreme Court, and in particular, a jurist of the eminence of Professor Bakshi is here. Therefore, it is safe to be very brief. I am seeing my friend from Bombay, the two of them I saw. I had appeared in a matter which they were against, and they gave a hell of time. And I did learn, because I had forgotten, after 1976, I stopped doing witness actions. I did correct the witness actions thereafter. So in such a company, I have to be very careful. I speak not only for myself, but also on behalf of my good friend, Ashok Desai. And I am so thankful to the Bar Association of India to have given us this opportunity, and that too on an occasion when there is a hat trick. It is 105th birth anniversary of the father of the nation, 60th year of this Bar Association, and the Day celebrations going on. It's a hat trick of occasions, and in the presence of the galaxy of you. I feel too humble, but any recognition by the Bar Association of India is a great reward and an award. And to be so rewarded when two judges of the Supreme Court are there is all the more, I feel, we are very lucky and privileged. It is the blessings of God that has been decided that I should be today here along with Mr. Ashok Desai to receive this recognition, because everything is predestined and nothing happens but except by what is decided by him, the common piper to whom the entire universe dances. And in fact, I was doubtful whether I would be able to come, because I was not quite well the age-related problems with Chennai. Somehow I have been able to reach it. I must profusely thank my good friend, Lalit Basheen, to have considered that I could also be recognized along with Mr. Ashok Desai to be given this break today. And I am so thankful to so many of you who have found time to be here in the evening to participate in this function and also to bless both of us. I thank you all for this opportunity. Thank you very much.
Thank you, respected Parasaran ji. I'll now request Mr. Jayesh Bakshi to please come here. And Mr. Jayesh Bakshi, as most of you know, is a very eminent lawyer in his own right. He's son-in-law of Mr. Arun Jaitley. So he's here to receive the award for Mr. Arun Jaitley posthumously from the hands of the honorable judges and the two former Attorney Generals of India. In the memory of our very dear senior friend, Mr. Ram Jethmalani, I would request his illustrious son, a very distinguished senior lawyer, Mr. Mahesh Jethmalani, to please come and receive the award. the living legends of law. We selected about 10, 11 illustrious leaders of the bar and one illustrious educationist, because that has been our guiding principle right since inception of the Lawyers of India Day in 2016, to recognize the noble role, the great role played by the living legends of law in their respective states and also all over the country. In that, now we present to you, I am not reading their profiles because those are all in this booklet, which is a part of your conference bag. This booklet is there with you. The profiles in detail are given in this booklet. So the first award, Mr. Anandya Kumar Mitra, Bar at Law. Mr. Apurva Kumar Sharma, Senior Advocate. He is the Chairman of the Executive Committee of the Bar Council of India. The award is in the name of Mr. Bipin Bihari Rathore, but due to his ill health, he will not be able to receive.
He is being represented by Mr. D.P.
Yes, I know. He could not travel to Delhi, but he is being represented by Mr. D.P. Dhal, Member State Bar Council, and also Mr. Soumyajit Pani, to please receive the award on his behalf. You see, the methodology we adopted was that we requested our former awardees and the state bar leaders to suggest the names, because we would not be familiar, may not be familiar with those who are doing great work in their respective high courts or in the respective state bar councils. So that was the methodology that we adopted, and it is a result of that we selected these awardees. The next one to be so selected is none other than Mr. Darius J. Khambata, Senior Advocate. And another very eminent name and who is senior to all of us, also from Bombay High Court, Mr. Janak D. Dwarkadas. Big hand for him. Mr. N.L. Raja, who had been spoken about by none other than the Honorable Judge.